Welcome to Module 1's video on lipids, also known as fats. In this video, we'll be discussing what fats are, the structure of fat, the types of fat, what the sources of those are, and how our body uses it. What is fat? Fat is also known as a lipid. It is a macronutrient that our body uses as energy or to store energy. Our bodies also use fat for transportation or for the structure of our cells. Fats provide our body with 9 calories per gram, unlike protein and carbs, which provide 4 calories per gram. Fats, like this triglyceride you see here, are made up of fatty acid carbon chains linked together with a glycerol head. Phospholipids are unique in that they have phosphorus molecule on its head, making part of it hydrophilic and part of it hydrophobic, and these form the cell wall, the cell membranes in our body. The length of the chain on the fatty acid carbon chain helps to determine what type of fatty acid it is, as well as how many hydrogens are connected to this chain. Our bodies store fat in the form of these triglycerides, which has one head and 3 fatty acid chains. The types of different dietary fats include monounsaturated fatty acids. You might hear them called MUFAs. Polyunsaturated fatty acids, you might hear those called PUFAs. These include omega-3s and omega-6s. And saturated fat and trans fat. Over here you see a saturated fatty acid. It is saturated with hydrogens on every single carbon. An unsaturated fatty acid, poly or monounsaturated, has fewer carbons, making a kink in the chain like this. A trans fatty acid also does not have all the hydrogens in a saturated fat, but they are on opposite side so that they still lay in a straight line. As you can tell, you might not be able to stack a chain that is bent like this as easily as a straight one. So these are more fluid because they cannot lay on each other. So you will find that these are fluid at room temperature, while a trans fat or a saturated fatty acid is solid at room temperature. So MUFAs and PUFAs, or the unsaturated fatty acids, since they're liquid at room temperature, these are often going to be our oils. The plant-based oils, nuts, seeds, you also find them in fish in the form of omega-3s or omega-6s, and avocado. Saturated fat and trans fat are both solid at room temperature. Saturated fat you might find in butter, lard, margarine, red meat, dairy, fried foods, cakes, cookies, and other common desserts. Trans fats have actually been banned in America since 2018, so you will not see them added to anything nowadays. Unless you have something hidden in the pantry from before 2018, you might find it in something like popcorn. But there are some small amounts of trans fatty acids that naturally occur in some meats and dairy. How does our body utilize fat? Our body turns the fat that we eat into triglycerides, which may or may not be used for energy or stored away into fat reserves. The fat we eat also impacts our vascular health and cholesterol levels. Saturated fat is linked to increased levels of LDL cholesterol, which is also known as a bad form of cholesterol. Whenever someone mentions that you have high cholesterol, they are usually referring to LDL, or a combination of LDL and HDL. HDL, or high-density lipoprotein, is considered a good cholesterol, and having plenty of unsaturated fatty acids is often linked to having higher levels of HDL instead of low-density lipoproteins, LDL cholesterol. This is the end of the lipids video, go ahead and jump over to the vitamins and minerals in Module